it's Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario on September 18th. Hope everybody's having a nice day. Uh, what's the big story today on my X feed besides Charlie Kirk? All day, every day, they're fighting over what's the real story with him, who's who with the shooting and all that. But I don't even want to bother speculating on that shooting. I just want to see it all play out. But the one interesting thing coming out of it is Donald Trump, designated today Antifa as a terrorist group. Antifa is like the group, kind of like a loose organized group of crazy anti-fascists, so-called anti-fascists, and they're the ones that are suspected of being behind the murder of Charlie Kirk and just being assholes in general to anybody who disagrees with them politically. And now Trump's says he's gonna hunt them down as terrorists, and people in Canada are saying we should do the same here. We should designate them as a terrorist group. So it should be interesting. It's gonna be hard to do. It'll be hard to do, but interesting to watch because they don't have a headquarters. They don't have a president, and they're like a loosely affiliated groups. Lots of NGOs, a lot of money washing around, a lot of foreign money, George Soros money. It's like a kind of like tentacles everywhere, and they're in all the institutions, academia, business, politics, government, education. Obviously, I said academia, but even just like regular, like kiddie, elementary school teachers and business owners, and even in Sarnia, Ontario, we got our share of Antifa crazies. One of them was actually we have a few on council almost, I think. One of them for sure was on council. He's not anymore. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how this whole Antifa thing folds out. And the one thing I noticed about Antifa is when the Democrats are in power, and this is more recent, when Trump was in power from 2016 to 2020, they were very active. They were burning cities down for George Floyd and all sorts of problems, like calling Trump dictator and using that to justify their actions and support their radical agenda, right? And then when the Democrats take power, when Biden was president, they kind of back off, right? Because the government's going to do all their work for them. And you kind of see that in Canada here. For 10 years, we've had the Liberals. So Antifa hasn't had to burn the streets down because the Liberal government's doing everything they want. If they had a conservative government in Canada for the last 10 years, like a hardcore conservative, not the fake conservatives that we have right now, then I'm sure you'd see more burning going on in Canada. And now that Trump's in his second term, they're turning it up a notch because they don't like him, and they don't like what his agenda. So, the Kirk murder is the escalation. Before it was just being annoying and burning stuff. Now we're up to murder of public figures. So it's could escalate everywhere. But the problem is, what do you do with these people? Because they're nuts. Like, we have some in Sarnia here. The ones in Toronto you saw at Christie Pitts. The ones in the States that killed Charlie Kirk, or allegedly killed him, or were part of it, whatever. What do you do with them? The first thing, I guess, is the street level guys. The ones that act at the protests and just, they're horrible. Like, they were saying, at the Toronto protest, they were saying, take it in the neck. And then, they're just being very, just assholes. And they get in your face, and they're like, the problem is the police let them do all this stuff. They let them intimidate people who don't think like them. And so as long as the police here in Canada and in the States, probably in a few democratic cities, let them do whatever they want, on the street, they're gonna get worse. But you gotta like crack some skulls on these guys. Like when they acted the way they did at Christie Pitts, the cops should have been getting the paddy wagon for those crazy people. But some of them were like old people. Like it's all different ages. Obviously, the young ones are gonna do the more physical work. So it'll be interesting to see what Trump does. Lots of because all those NGOs they're very good at organizing the pro, let's say, LGBTQ NGOs, the pro BLM NGOs, the mass immigration NGOs, and they filter all that money to the ground level organizers who are able to bus in protesters and intimidate politicians and journalists, whatever. So it's like it's a virus, you know. And what do you do with these people? I don't know, maybe smack them in the head with a stick, and hopefully they figure it out. They learn their lesson. But I'll give you a good example of Sarnia, of the Antifa thing. And this is probably the same situation in various states. The only difference is in the states they have guns more accessible. Here we don't, but still, if they want to kill somebody, these Antifa guys, they don't need a gun. They can do it many ways. So anyway, in Sarnia, they had a vigil here the other night for Charlie Kirk, and it was good. It was like over 100 people, I think, and I went to, and I was like, if this was Toronto and they had a vigil for Charlie Kirk, you'd have all the Antifa crazies come out just to cause shit and push the envelope. And in Sarnia, they didn't come, but I wouldn't have put it past them to come. And but you know, being the cowards that they are, they had like a Reddit forum on the thing, on the vigil. And here it is. It's Charlie Kirk vigil under the bridge tonight. Is there really going to be a vigil for Kirk under the bridge tonight? I heard this, but I can't believe it. Is it true? It's like, why can't you believe it? Because this is how they think. If you don't agree with them, they'll shoot you. You know, like the Bolsheviks in Russia when they took over Russia. They literally shot people like every day, every hour, lined up against the wall because they weren't Bolsheviks. If you aren't Bolshevik, up against the wall. So if you gave these guys guns, these Sarnia dudes, Antifa Sarnia, I'll call them. If you gave them guns, they would totally be gunning, like probably our Bill Dennis. They'd get Bill Dennis first. They don't like him. So let's look at some of their comments here. So basically these guys are these Antifa Sarnia dudes. I tried commenting and they wouldn't. They scrubbed my comments because they're commies and they like to censor people. You know who you are, Sarnia Antifa. So let's read some of these comments. I mean, they're making such a big deal. It's a vigil. Free country. If you want to have a vigil, not bothering nobody. But no, Antifa Sarnia can't allow it because they're commies. Okay, so I like this. We're getting a lot of brigading and troll posts on this thread. It has a lot of important conversations and it really warrant discussion. I want to keep it open for this, so please hit that report button if you see any of these mods so we can keep up as best you can. So basically what they're saying is report any comments that don't agree with us so we can delete them. And we could just sit here and act outraged at the Nazi vigil. That's what they were saying, as a Nazi. So anyway, that's how they think. Like, and that's Bolshevik thinking. No debate, no discussion, no disagreement. Shoot you, put you up against the wall and shoot you. Okay, so about the vigil. I hope not. I don't support what happened to Charlie, but Charlie supported what happened to Charlie. So basically they're saying he deserved it, whatever. What else we got here? I don't use Reddit, but I thought it's a commie hangout. I'm sure they'll go after Reddit now and Discord and all that. Soros, maybe they should arrest him and his stupid son. But if you end up going and following the money, you're probably gonna, in the States, you'll probably have to like basically just destroy the Democratic Party because they're Antifa's. Them and Antifa are basically connected by the hip to the hip or whatever. I don't know what that's saying. Look at this. Okay, here is this. Is this more Bill Dennis and his Maple Mega BS? Right? Bill Dennis was there. But what? He's not allowed to go there? Wow, really? People are idiots. He was a podcaster, for fuck's sakes. Okay. Anyway. In other words, a Nazi rally under the bridge tonight. So basically, this is what got Charlie Kirk killed. They're calling him a Nazi or whatever. And they're calling this a Nazi rally under the bridge tonight. Like, that's just, come on, guys. This is the kind of rhetoric that, eventually you convince yourself, okay, I have to kill these guys because they're Nazis. Like, this is the kind of rhetoric that, how do you stop it, though? Like, how do you don't, you have free speech, but I think you have to just smack them on the head if they come to a protest and act like a dick, get in your face, and like they did in Toronto. Then during the BLM riots, you saw what they did. All right. Let's see. Yes, because they like that he was a bigoted, misogynistic Nazi and want more of that here in Sarnia. Okay. Okay. Counter vigil for those who died by gun violence every day. Yeah, I was expecting a counter thing, but they didn't do it. They don't have the numbers in Sarnia. I think in Toronto they would have, but in Sarnia they get their asses kicked. Boo, I don't condone political violence, but I also won't mourn someone who believes children who die in school shootings are just necessary collateral to keep the Second Amendment. Okay. So, basically saying, oh, he deserved it. Organizers confirmed Bill Dennis fanboy. John, they called you a Bill Dennis fanboy. I don't think he's a Bill Dennis fanboy. I think compared to Mike Bradley, Bill Dennis is the obvious choice. If that makes him a fanboy, I don't know. Organizers confirmed Bill Dennis fanboy and Freedom Convoy protester of the far right. Also, unsurprisingly, these guys are funny. At least they make me laugh. But if I have them in front of me, I'd be like, I'm gonna fight these guys, or I'm not gonna sit here and listen to these guys poke sticks in my face. But online, they're funny because they're so retarded. Also, unsurprisingly, has a history of hateful rhetoric towards immigrants and international students, which you will see in my reply to this comment chain. Okay. Why can't they condemn all forms of violence? Why must there be a double? Okay. So basically, those are just a few of the comments for Sarnia Antifa. This is the one. I'm going to drive by blaring "Protect Your Neck." So yeah, obviously it's a reference to Charlie getting shot in the neck. So nobody drove by, nobody disrupted the vigil, but I wouldn't have been surprised if they did that. I think they're just cowards because they don't have the numbers that they would have in Toronto. Like I said, if someone did a vigil at a park somewhere in Toronto for Charlie Kirk and they advertised it on Facebook, you'd get all these guys up there. And the Toronto police wouldn't do nothing. Let the fascists show their faces. Better to know who they are now. So, like, they dox you. They want to dox you. So John's getting doxxed, but I don't think John cares. I was thinking of going down there with my camera, but because taking pictures is so violent, I fear a Nazi ass whooping, so may stay home. It's like, no, you can take pictures, just don't be an asshole. Okay. Saw pictures from the event, so I guess I'm calling the school board today to demand my son's EAs get swapped. I don't need someone like that around my kids. It's disturbing how many teachers, EAs, and school support staff supported a vigil for a guy who thinks dead kids are a necessary casualty, only in Sarnia. So, you see, they want to dox you now. They want to abuse you. They want to get you fired from your teaching EA job. This is a joke. How? Okay. It's not just U.S. politics, unfortunately. People going to the vigil agree with Kirk. That's the fucked up part. So, yeah. Heaven forbid you have a different opinion than the Antifa crowd. Okay. And then I didn't realize having a vigil for a guy who got a neck tattoo was a thing. So, yeah, these people are just gross, disgusting people. And we know who luckily in Sarnia, we can crush them, no problem. And then some more reaction from our local Antifa. I guess he would be the president of Antifa Sarnia, Nathan Colhoun. He used to be a councillor on Sarnia City Council, and now he's invested in some independent newspaper that was ready to fail. So hopefully he'll lose some money on that. So basically, he wrote an article covering the vigil, and he writes, the next speaker, Brandon McCaskill, delivered the centerpiece of the vigil, a sermon-style address on Christianity and forgiveness. McCaskill is a divisive local figure who runs the 2,500-member Facebook group, Sarnia Opinions. The group has been accused by critics of amplifying, I don't know who's the critics, probably Nathan. The group has been accused by critics of amplifying conspiracies and vitriol. In his address, McCaskill described Kirk as someone whose worldview was rooted in gospel. So yeah, going after Brandon, who's probably one of the nicest people in Sarnia, that's what these commies do. This Brandon had to respond, divisive. I guess Nathan's right in the sense that I follow Jesus, and Jesus warned that he himself would divide father against son and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother. And okay, whatever. Division is good if you're dividing truth from lies, facts from opinions. So hallelujah, thanks, Nate. Yeah. And then Bill Dennis, who's he's on the Sarnia Council right now, but he's been attacked relentlessly by Antifa Sarnia. And I wouldn't be surprised if they tried taking a shot at Bill. They hate him. I wouldn't be surprised. And it would be all their fault because they attacked the guy for his whole career as in politics. All it takes is one of these little dummies to get a hold of whatever, and God forbid it doesn't happen, but with the rhetoric, especially with Nathan Calhoun owning a newspaper now, because the commies owned newspapers back in when the Nazis and the commies were having their running street battles in the 30s. They all had their own newspaper, right? So I guess the Sarnia Journal is the Antifa commie newspaper. So here's Bill Dennis. Okay. Oh, and this is the part they had in the article with Bill Dennis. Bill Dennis, the councillor in question, has been reprimanded by Sarnia Council for inflammatory social media posts, including remarks critics said used racialized or derogatory language. Providing the sound system, so he's doxing everybody at this event, basically. Providing the sound system was Ron Railsmith, president of the Sarnia Legion. Railsmith has been criticized before for blurring the Legion's traditionally apolitical stance with partisan commentary. So basically, he's getting everybody, trying to get everybody in trouble. Bill Dennis. Like, Bill's a counselor in this community. I'm pretty sure he can go to a vigil if he wants. And, the voters can judge him. That's who. The Sarnia Journal, this is what Bill says. Sarnia Journal, owned by failed Sarnia mayoral candidate and Marxist Nathan Calhoun, apparently finds fault with myself attending a peaceful vigil. Funny, I don't recall the Sarnia Journal saying anything negative when 5 councillors showed up at a local business to show support for their drag queen story hour. Yes, because Nathan loves the drag queens. He does. He has them at a he has drag queen story time, drag queen show all the time. So good for him if he wants. If he at his business he wants to have drag queens. Nobody says anything, but some people have a peaceful vigil and he's losing his mind. You know, so that's a Sarnia Antifa. We got Sarnia Antifa. So it's going to be a hard problem. And it's probably just going to be chaos. And they're going to use it as an excuse to take away all our free speech and internet and all that. Because you're fighting Antifa. So I don't know. It's going to be hard because they're so embedded into the society now. We let it get bad, and now we're stuck with them. So that was the Blue Water Bridge last night. So the reaction Canada after seeing the Antifa crowd in Toronto, and it's just a matter of time before one of these guys goes all off the reservation and starts, instead of going from being an asshole to being a killer, just a matter of time. Could happen in Sarnia, could happen in London, Toronto, whatever. But I think in the U.S., they've already shown what damage they can do. Like they burned down half the country, half the cities, and there've been other killings of officials and attacks on officials, like brutal attacks on people who don't agree with them. So it's gonna be hard to root these guys out. Here's Greg Wycliffe. Canada must designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, period. He was there at Christie Pitts, so he knows. He's seen them. I'm glad I didn't go, because I would have probably gotten put in jail.
Hack the nucleus of the problem in this country. So I don't care who you... So Trump just designated Antifa as a terrorist organization in America. Canada, we need to capitalize on this. We need to go on the offensive on this right now. This is an important moment. The mask of the progressive left has totally slipped off. We saw them celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. And guess what, folks? Antifa operates in Canada, and they have a whole track record of being violent, like a terrorist organization, for political ends. For example, once an Antifa member drove a car into peaceful protesters during the Freedom Convoy in Winnipeg. Here's Billboard Chris being attacked in Montreal for protesting transgenders and being taught in schools. And here's Nicholas Alexander after being attacked by Antifa for protesting the same thing. Although Nicholas was the one assaulted, he's the one getting arrested here. All of these examples, these people were peacefully protesting and they got violently attacked from Antifa. This is the definition of terrorism. Mm-hmm. And think about it, Canadians. The Antifa ideology is very similar, almost identical, to the Justin Trudeau Liberal Party ideology that we are still living under in this country.
Big problem.
This is our moment to attack the nucleus of the problem in this country. So I don't care who you are, left, right. I have disagreements with people on all sides of the spectrum, but I think we can agree on this. We need to send a message and designate Antifa as a terrorist organization in Canada. These words need to come out of the mouth of Mark Carney. They must come out of the mouth of Pierre Poilievre. So if you're an influencer, I don't care, apply pressure to Poilievre to start talking about this. This needs to happen. This is a no-brainer. And to show Mark Carney or to show Poilievre and the Conservative Party how many people care about this, Dominion Society has taken the initiative and we started a petition. You can go to dominionsociety.ca/Antifa, sign the petition there.
So yeah, go sign it. I think I got to sign it. I didn't sign it yet, but definitely sign it if you can. But it's not going to happen. The Liberals, there's a snowball chance in hell that they're going to go do anything against Antifa because, like I said, they've been for the most part, they haven't burned anything down in Canada because the Liberals have been doing all their heavy work. They just do the reason they're getting a little testy lately is because from COVID on, the Freedom Convoy they were against freedom, of course, and now with the kind of the anti-immigrant movement going on in Canada and the remigration movement, they get fired up over stuff like this. But the Liberals are helping them. So Liberals aren't going to do anything now. The Liberals are going to go after nationalists, and they're going to let Antifa harass nationalists. Different situation than the States. All right, there's Mark Carney today. He was giving a speech in Mexico, and oh my God, it was like putting me to sleep. That's his superpower, so it works. Next, government lists. Am I on the government watch list? Yeah, maybe, probably. But I'm not on the Epstein list. That's a good one. Yeah, it's a list. It's an exclusive list, and you're not on it. All right. Here's another Antifa for intimidation, doxing, threats, outright violence. Antifa does it all. We just looked at it in the Sarnia example. Intimidation, doxing, threats. Just not the outright violence because they didn't have the numbers. But in Toronto, outright violence. Antifa does it all, and yet law enforcement and politicians turn a blind eye. Why? It's time to call them what they are, a terrorist group. But imagine, like, if the police and the government actually did their job, and, like, for instance, like Christy Pitts, they said, we want you guys to disperse, let's say, because they were acting very unruly. Roll up the paddy wagon. Crack some skulls, if they're going to act like little terrorists. But the police didn't do nothing to them. So, until that, like, they're not going to do anything to them. They're going to keep doing it. Hold on. Yeah. They get away with it in Canada. All right, here's a good video I saw here. This guy's
posted about a bill.
Hold on. He kind of read my mind on the fake conservative. He really expressed it well. I give him credit. It's just these fake conservatives, they're not going to do anything to help Canada. They're just like the Liberals, just blue instead of red. So he's going after Michelle Rempel-Garner, who's the immigration critic, and she's useless. She's useless. She was a WEF young leader, and just very woke. Michelle, fake conservative, not going to do anything to fix immigration. Let's see. He said it better. Let's see what he says here.
Safe haven for foreign criminals. And her antics continue. She was writing about a speech from her. Ask yourself this. Is the Conservative Party of Canada conservative? Just recently, Michelle Rempel-Garner, Conservative MP, posted about a bill saying immigration status shouldn't factor into sentencing non-citizens convicted of crimes. Wrong. Immigration status should be considered. If you're not a citizen and you committed a crime, deportation immediately.
Yeah, immediately.
No exceptions. But then, classic CPC, she deleted it and rewrote the whole thing. This time, she adjusted the phrasing to say the right thing. Here's the reality. There should be no leniency for non-citizens, none. If you jaywalk, you're deported. You shoplift, you're deported. You drive drunk, you're deported. Yeah. This country should not be a safe haven for foreign criminals. And her antics continue. She was writing about a speech from her colleague, Jean-Charles Marat, a foreign-born Conservative MP, on the meaning and value of Canadian citizenship. She calls it powerful, saying she found hope in his words, but she doesn't want to share the video, just the transcript, because they know how bad it looks.
I, like many Canadians, chose to invest myself here, become part
of
this great country because I believe in it. Because Canadian citizenship comes with value.
That's why
a conservative.
Only foreign citizens should hold office. And when you point
I
that
s-
out, people go, but Max, 4 of our 24 prime ministers were immigrants. Are you saying they shouldn't have been elected?
I've been saying for a long time, no foreign-born MPs.
Shut the fuck up, retard. Laws exist to stop what should never happen. You don't wait for a disaster before you write the rule, you prevent it. Those immigrant PMs came from Britain. They shared our language, law, culture, our institutions. They were an extension of us. That's not...
Yeah, I think Alexander Mackenzie, our Sarnia guy, was prime minister. He was born in Scotland, I think, but he's still Canadian.
Today's mass immigration. Today's people come from countries with incompatible cultures who don't know what the word deodorant means.
Uh-oh.
Do you know what this is?
I don't know.
You don't know? Or this? Or this?
Okay.
Do you use it?
I don't use. I don't need.
I don't need it.
It's frustrating. Canadians hear a member of parliament who cannot speak any of our 2 official languages, and we're told we can't notice. We're told it's racist to say maybe people who clearly can't speak our official languages shouldn't be MP. And Michelle Rempel isn't new to being a die-hard liberal coward. Back in 2021, some Muslim activists claimed conservatives were evil for banning face coverings. Michelle's response? She apologized, literally writing, I have privilege. I am cis, straight, and white. Eat shit. She hates us. She hates this country. She's a coward, and she's always been a coward.
She always
if
has
there is
been,
one
yes.
thing worse than liberals, it's fake conservatives like her.
So let me get this right.
So this
Ask
kid's good.
yourself this.
I like this kid, and if this might have Canada might have a future if a lot of kids think like this kid. Because he's funny and he's right. Totally right on. I've said that too. Like, foreign-born MPs, bad. Michelle Rempel, horrible MP. And fake conservatives. I'm sick of fake conservatives. I hate them. I see we have the fake conservatives in Ontario too. Doug Ford. Fat Doug Ford. Speaking of terrorist groups, we have the Calistanis and we have the Antifa. They should be both terrorist groups hunted down. Well, Calistanis should just be deported and shouldn't be allowed in this country. And all the millions of Indians, not just the Calistanis. Kick them all out. I don't care. I'll say it. All right. Calistanis need to be declared a terrorist organization as well as Antifa Canada. Like, why would we import this? Why? Why would we even... Now, this might not be Canada, actually. But anyway, we got a lot of these guys here. Oh, no, that's Vancouver, it says. Yeah, why are we bringing these people here? All right. So that's it. We got the Calistanis, we got the Antifa, we got the regular Indian, we got to get rid of them all. We need to do a gulag in the Arctic. Just because the ones we can't deport, we put in the gulag. And then maybe get some polar bears, because they're endangered. We get them around there to keep guard. All right, this is funny. This is, Canada. Just when you think Canada is like a third world, turning into a third world shithole, and then you think, okay, and then you see something new each day to kind of say, okay, it's getting worse. So this is a funny video. They're starting to turn, the bus shelters into little apartments. And I was like, wow, don't give the government any ideas, because they might start making bus shelter homes and then with a little toilet in the corner or something. And I'd laugh about it, but they might actually do it.
drain and destruction it's putting with our healthcare system.
That's horrible, man.
People have started converting the bus shelters to makeshift homes now in Toronto. This is how bad.
Look at that.
the
It's
housing
actually really
crisis
nice.
has gotten. This is what is happening now. People are using
No
these
privacy.
bus shelters as their homes.
No
And what does
privacy.
the government do about this? They say they're investing $13 billion to build homes. $13 billion. To only build you 4,000 homes, which means each one of these homes costs $3.25 million.
And why are they building these homes? For the millions of immigrants that they're still planning on bringing. Even though they say, oh, we're cutting down. No, they're still bringing them. Why do you think every day you see stories of more dense housing being built? They're pushing for more dense housing, for more billions to build new homes because they're bringing more people.
And they wonder
And
why
Canadians will
we
live
have
in the bus
such a
shelter.
big homeless problem in this country. They wonder why we have 2 million people that are relying on food banks. They wonder why we have 200,000 people that are homeless in this country. Don't forget about doing the rational thing like tampering down on this mass immigration when we can't obviously house the people in this country, Canadian citizens, in the first place. Let's continue to bring them in addition to all the strain and destruction it's putting with our healthcare system, our infrastructure, with our economy, unemployment through the roof. Forget about all that. And seriously, 4,000 homes? You guys are bringing in this liberal government. Millions of people have been brought into this country. They think 4,000 homes is going to solve the issue. 4,000 homes that also cost $3.25 million when the average Canadian household makes like $90,000 a year.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Very bad. Bus shelters, man. Just when you think Canada can't get worse. Bus shelters. All right. Suspect sought after worker seriously injured in unprovoked Toronto stabbing. Unprovoked stabbing in Toronto. That's no good. What is he? Insane? Crazy? Deport or gulag, whatever one. Toronto's turning into just like a shithole. He's like, you're like London. You're gonna get stabbed. Just standing there. This is another one. Sam Lynch was shot by a POS in the quoted post below. Sam is in the ICU fighting for his life, recovering from a severe brain injury. Please support Sam and his family. So yeah, I heard about this. Look at this guy. Naim Alexander arrested for a shooting that took place last week. Deport this guy. And you know, attempted murder. The guy's screwed. He destroyed this guy. Did they catch him? No. Still wanted. Like, why do we have all these guys here, man? Like, I want to go to Toronto with my family. I don't want to get shot by these guys. Fired several rounds at a man and Haman, leaving them both in life-threatening condition in hospital. I just want to see this here. And this is one, at the same time, sorry, the page can't be found. This is the same time, and this, apparently he's been out on bail. This is the same time, at the same time, our government's going around trying to collect guns from law-abiding citizens instead of busting some skulls here with this guy. I mean, the solution's so simple, but they don't want to do it. They want to go after legal gun owners and leave guys like this around to kill people or maim them. Now that's a Canadian that won't be able to be productive and enjoy his life for this piece of shit. All right. Next, more busts at the Windsor and Sarnia border crossings. I thought this one was interesting because usually they've been coming into Canada, the cocaine and the whatever, but it looks like this one was going into Michigan because it says 940 pounds of meth, which that's a lot of meth. Seized Saeed Shah, taken to custody, lodged at St. Clair County Jail, which is a Michigan jail, so they must have been going into the U.S. Second truck driver. Oh, wait a minute. They might have been coming to Canada. It looks like they got pulled over. Who knows? Okay, it looks like they got pulled over. So maybe they were on their way to Canada. They got pulled over before they got to the bridge. Who knows? That's weird. Anyway, that's a lot of drugs. But you notice the same truck drivers. They're not white truck drivers. They're from India. So it's like, it's weird. What is it, like a smuggling network? They do human smuggling, now they do drug smuggling. And these drivers, they just say, here, take the truck. I'm going to delete that. So confusing. Okay. Hold on. It should be more clear. But anyway, it's a problem. In Sarnia here, we have the Blue Water Bridge, and who knows how much, for every shipment they catch, what gets through. Here's Canada. Here's an interesting immigration tidbit. Canada rejected 62% of student visas in 25 so far, including 80% of Indian student visa applications. Which is good, I suppose, but what about all the millions and millions and millions of students we let in already that don't want to go back to India? And I bet a bunch of them had like kids here while they were students. Anyway, I'm sure they'll find another way to get back, to get into Canada. Like they probably got, for every avenue you close, they probably find 10 more to get in. So they'll probably have like 10 different visa programs set up. Here's Tom Marazzo, he wrote a bunch of stuff here. He had to listen to Antifa in person at the Christie Pitts protest. He says, don't expect a quick win against Antifa. Antifa is not a single membership-based organization. It is a label and a tactic used by decentralized cells and activists. Just like the commies, the Marxists, that's their plan. Just destabilize. The reality makes legal designation and blank prosecutions difficult. Courts require proof of specific criminal conduct, not ideology, clothing, or slogans. So yeah, he makes a good point how hard, difficult it'll be to go after them. They made it that way. Antifa designed themselves that way. Make no mistake, the tools to stop this violence have always existed. The problem has often been political choices that discourage prosecutions, not a lack of law. Police should bring charges when there is evidence, and prosecutors should pursue those charges regardless of politics. In Canada, we have seen too many examples of officers standing by while violent actors smash property and assaulted citizens. That failure must end now. So yeah, like, the cops need to bust some Antifa skulls. That's what they need to do. And you do that, most of them will fall in the line. Most of them. Street level mass activists are rarely the true architects. They are the expendable foot soldiers. The real organizers and facilitators provide money, transport, gear, planning, and safe houses. Those handlers will abandon the street people the moment arrests are made. There'll be no heroic legal defense waiting for them. They are pawns and patsies in a larger logistical chain, and cutting that chain is the practical way to end the chaos. It's going to be hard. They're dug in good. Follow the money, freeze assets, prosecute for material support, and targeting of logistics and facilitators will have far more impact than chasing slogans. Successful prosecutions will rest on concrete evidence. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But, and especially in Canada, like, Trump, I think, is motivated to go after him because it gives him, keeps people distracted from the stuff they're criticizing him for. I mean, so that's convenient for him. I'm not saying we shouldn't go after Antifa, but he'll use it. It'll be convenient for him to distract people from his other issues. So there's that political will because of Charlie Kirk's murder in the States to go after Antifa, but I don't think it's here. We don't have that will here with the Liberals. Like, look at the NDP. They're practically in bed with the... Didn't Charlie Angus send those guys down there to Christie Pitts? So I don't see the political will here to go after Antifa right now, but that could change with a different conservative party, not the one that's in right now. Remigration isn't radical. What's radical is the decades of replacement migration our country has been subjected to. Remigration is the natural response. Yes. All right. Here's another young scholar that we imported. Canada-wide warrant has been issued for Milad Terin, who is wanted for a homicide that occurred on September 13th. These guys seem to evade capture. They have, like, people help them, I guess. I don't know. Enough with the gaslighting. My heritage is more than a piece of paper. He's Indian, not Canadian. This is the one Michelle Rempel was saying how great a Canadian he was.
Sacred democratic institution. I am an immigrant, like many in this house, like many across the country. I worked to become a Canadian. I contributed to Canadian society. I built my career.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you should be in Parliament.
Family here. I'm representing my neighbors and community here in our sacred democratic institution. I, like many Canadians, chose to invest myself here.
Invest
I'm
myself.
part of this country, great country, because I believe in it. Because Canadian citizenship comes with value, with responsibility, and something we Canadians truly love and believe in.
All right. Yeah, he shouldn't be an MP, okay? He's lucky enough he's even here in Canada. Like, well, why is he an MP? I have no idea why. Okay. That's it. Like, I wanted to just focus on the Antifa thing, but it's... Well, like, here we go. Finally, our public safety minister, Gary Ann Danson, whatever, wants to take away all the guns. They're spending all this time and money to take away guns from people who are like hunters, who just like guns and know how to use them, but are law-abiding citizens. Meanwhile, you got all these gangbangers in Toronto shooting people. You have the Calistanis firing guns in the woods, and, you know, they haven't caught them. They only caught one guy out of 5 or 6. You have Antifa, who knows if they get a gun stash, but no, go after the regular gun owners. Look at this guy.
To speak directly, as you know, they represent.
You say the amnesty is going to be extended for guns for how long?
More details will be forthcoming.
Why is the
buyback program? Who's going to collect guns in Ontario? There is no deal yet, as far as we know. How are guns going to be collected?
More information will be forthcoming.
He doesn't have any answers.
The program. I'm very confident that we will have collection facilities available in Ontario. We will have police of jurisdiction. Many of them have already signed off. So I'm very confident that we will have a robust collection ability to collect guns in Ontario.
Did the OPP refuse to participate in the program?
Well, the OPP has indicated that they will not participate directly. As you know, they represent 26% of the overall policing in Ontario. This doesn't mean that we can't continue with the gun buyback program.
Why are you sticking with this program?
This will be the last question.
Why are you sticking with this program? Why move it to the next stage when it comes to individual firearms owners?
So, if you recall, we had an election in April where, as part of our mandate, as part of our platform, this was on the platform, this was repeated as part of the throne speech. So this is very much something that we committed to and we will follow through on.
So this is another MP, cabinet minister this time, who can't even speak. He speaks English, I guess, a little bit, but he doesn't know any of the answers. He says more details will come. This is a public safety minister. He used to be with the Tamil Tigers, which is technically a terrorist group, I guess, from Sri Lanka. Whatever. The point is why is this guy public safety minister? If we were to go to war against Antifa he would be the guy to do it. Does he look like the guy who's going to do it? We need, if you're going to try and go to war against gangbangers in Toronto, shooting off guns and killing people, he's the guy who's supposed to be in charge. Does he look like he's going to do it? And then if you want to who's the last group? Yeah. Gangbangers, Antifa. He ain't gonna do any of that shit. The Calistani terrorists. Do you think he's gonna do anything about them? No. So I don't know why we have foreigners running our country. And it's not racist to say that at all. It's common sense. It's total common sense. So yeah, we need to deport Gary. Bye, Gary. And finally, this will be the last one. LCBO has a policy apparently where liquor's free. Because if you walk in and you try to steal, nobody's going to stop you. And you get in trouble if you try to stop them. That's Doug Ford's Ontario. And, you know, letting in millions of people into Ontario, we're turning into a third world country. They see a liquor store full of booze and they take it because they know they can get away with it. So ridiculous. Let's see what that happened. Menzies, David Menzies from Rebel News was getting booze, and this happened while he was in there.
Hey. Are you punks paying for that?
Maybe I really got lucky. A cylinder of pepper spray. You can recover from that.
They have pepper spray now.
A knife? A gun? Not so much.
We got to get tough on this crime. People are fed up.
What a fat pig.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in West End, Toronto. And folks, just the other day, I was at this Liquor Control Board of Ontario store here on the Queensway, picking up a bottle of Lafroig quarter cask because, well, where the hell else am I supposed to buy a bottle of scotch other than this government-owned monopoly? And you know what, folks? I was off duty, minding my own business, but I don't know. Sometimes you go looking for trouble. Other times trouble finds you, doesn't it? And that's exactly what happened to me. Check out the video footage.
Look at these Indian guys. Deport these guys, man.
Hey.
Why are we letting these guys in the country? This is ridiculous. Why?
Are you punks paying for that?
Pepper spray.
Hey, what is that?
Oh man, I kind of wish. I feel like hanging out outside a liquor store with a baseball bat. Let's go have a liquor store party, guys. They got a van and everything. Holy shit! And who knows if they're fencing it off to some Indian restaurant? I bet you they are. I bet you they are. Okay. So that's the last post of the day. I don't want any more. So yeah, lots of problems in Canada. Lots of problems. So we'll see what happens. I'm not very optimistic with the Antifa thing for Canada. Even in the States, it's gonna be hard to root them out. They're dug in good. Dug in deep. So we'll see. So next broadcast will be September 22nd, Monday, September 22nd. We'll see what transpires from now until then. So until then, have a nice night, and we'll see you then. Have a nice weekend too.